Hi everyone, today I'm going to discuss with you Python interview question part 6 and I'm going to discuss with you Python function interview question part 6. So here's the first question. What is a function in Python? Functions can be defined as a group of code which is used to perform specific tasks in Python. Question number 2 is what is the use of functions in Python? So functions can be used for minimize duplication of the code and it brings modularity in our code. So modularity means we can write the code in small sections or small chunks, and whenever we require that function we can call that in our program. Question number 3 is how to create function in Python. So in Python, a function is defined by using def keyword, def keyword. To call a function at the end, we need to use the function name followed by parentheses. A function can be returned data as a result. We can give any name to create a function followed by parentheses with colon. When we write the colon in front of the function name, the main body of the function is started. Whatever the code we writing inside the function body, that should be same indentation. Function body started with the indentation, and here I give the example for that. So I want to explain to you here. When I mention, I have the same example here writing on my Visual Studio Code. So here I mentioned the function name started with the def keyword. So I mentioned def and here's my function name is called testing and followed by parenthesis and colon. And I mentioned to print method. At the end I'm calling only function and followed by the parenthesis. After execute the program, it shows me the learning Python is awesome and today is a Monday. So here this is the way you have to define function in Python. Question number 4 is what is the indentation in Python? So indentation in Python nothing but the white space. It is at the start of the line. When we create indentation, we can create the indentation by using space or tabs. In Python, indentation is used for a group of statements belongs to a particular block of code. Python uses indentation to indicate block of code. In Python, indentation is very important. So I want to explain to you here. As I mentioned, here's my def and here's my testing is my function name with the followed by the parenthesis and colon, and I give the to print function. And if I write indentation means nothing but this white space. So if I try to write down this print function below the def, so it is showing me the error message because we are not following the indentation. In Python, indentation is very important. So to do that, we have to use the tab button. So if you press the tab on your keyboard, it will make the same indentation. In Python, we have to write the code in same indentation. If you do not follow the indentation, it will throw the error message. Question number 5 is when to use return keyword in function. Whenever the value we want to reuse in our return code, that time we use the return keyword to return that value. So I want to explain to you in my code here. So return keyword shows, see, return keyword either return the value or it may not return the value. So here I mention return keyword. So there are two ways you can use the return keyword. If your return keyword shows also end of the function, here I mentioned the def and automation is my function name followed by parenthesis and colon. I write down two print um, statement here. First one is nature is beautiful and second one is the today is a Saturday. When I not returning any value and I mention the return here, it is not printed the second line. Today is a Saturday is not printed after execute this program. If you can see here, only nature is beautiful is printed, but today is a Saturday is not printed. Since I am not returning any value, the return keyword shows the end of the function. Here I use the return keyword in my function. I mention def, sum is my function name and I am passing two value. I am telling that return a plus b. Since I am returning the value a plus b, it is showing after execute the program, it shows me the value 6 here. You can see that. So if you returning any value in your program, then you have to use the return keyword. So you have to understand where to use the return keyword or not in your program. Question number 6 is what is the class in Python? A class is a code template for creating object. In Python, a class is created by keyword class. Class can have variables, functions and constructor. A class is like an object constructor or a blueprint for creating object. Question number 7 is how to create class in Python. In Python, a class is created by keyword class and name of the class could be anything. To create a function inside the class, to call any member of class, we need to create first object of that class by using obj keyword. Call the function inside the class by using object. Whenever we creating any function inside the class, the first argument which is automatically set is a self. When we have a function inside the class, so we cannot call that function directly. We have to create first object of that class and then we can call any function. Here I mentioned the example of the class, how to create class in Python. As I mentioned, if you want to create a class in Python, you have to use the keyword class. All are small letter class and you can give any class name. Here I mentioned the automation and you have to give the colon. You have to mention the function inside the class. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to create the function in Python, you have to use the def keyword, function name followed by parenthesis and colon. When you create a function inside the class, the first argument set automatically is the self here. Then I mentioned the print function. Now, if I want to call this function, we have to create the object of that class. Then only I can call the function inside the class. So I created object for the automation class. And then I mentioned object.welcome is my function name. And after execute the program, it gives me this Python class. This is the Python class function. So this is the way you have to create function in Python, and this is the way you have to create the function inside the class in Python. Question number 8 is what is a constructor in Python? Constructors are used for object initialization. In Python, the __init method is used or is called for the constructor and the first argument is always self. Constructor is always called when an object is created. Constructor can take the argument. Constructor never return any value. The init in built-in function in Python that is called whenever the object is created. Underscore underscore init is initialize the state for the object. Only one constructor is allowed for a class. So you cannot create multiple constructor in one class. No, only one class and one constructor is allowed in Python. So here I give the example how to create constructor in Python. As I mentioned, first we have to create a class by using class keyword and give the class name followed by the colon. Here I mentioned constructor with the two argument, and if you create the constructor inside the class, the first argument is a self, automatically set self argument inside the constructor. So here I mentioned def underscore underscore init, and the first argument is self. Then I'm passing another two argument a and b, and I'm calling c a plus b, and I'm trying to print those value. And I created the object of this class, and I just passing two values. After execute the program, it gives me the value. Sum of the addition is 150. Here I do not need to call any method or functions. I never created any functions here. I do not need to call any functions or method. Once the object is created of the class, the constructor are automatically called. So here the constructor, and I passes to value, and I just make the class object and use these two value, and the constructor will return my value after execute this program. So this is how you have to create the constructor in Python. Question number 9 is, what is the use of constructor in Python? Constructor are special type of method used to initialize an object. In Python, a constructor is called by underscore underscore init method, and is called when an object is created. When we do not define a constructor inside the class, the default constructor is always invisibly present in the class. We do not require to call the constructor manually. It automatically invokes whenever we create the object of the class. Constructors are responsible for assigning the values to the data members of a class when an object is created. The constructor method is defined in the class can be used to initialize the basic variable. If you created 4 objects, the class constructor is called 4 times. Every class has only one constructor, but it is not required to explicitly define it. Question number 10 is, what are the type of constructor in Python? So there are two type of constructor in Python. One is default constructor and one is parameterized constructor. So default, what is a default constructor? Default constructor has only self as an argument. Means it is only have self argument. It will not take any other argument. And parameterized constructor can take multiple parameters along with the self argument. So here I give the example for that. I mentioned question number 11 is, what is a default constructor in Python? So default constructor has only self as an argument, and I mentioned here example for that. I mentioned the class student, and I mentioned the constructor inside that. Only I put the value, it's only accepting the self as a parameter or argument. And I mentioned the print function. This is a default constructor, and I created method inside that, and I'm creating the object of the student class, and then I'm calling object to show that my function name is a show, and then I'm passing the value. After execute the program, it will show me the value. So this is how you have to execute default constructor in Python. What is a parameterized constructor in Python? So parameterized constructor has multiple parameter along with the self. So here I give the example for that. I created class apple first with the class all are small letter, and I give the class name apple with the colon. I created constructor inside that. The first argument is constructor set as a self. As we know that inside the class, if you created the constructor, the first argument set is a self. And then I passing two arguments here, color and flavor. Then I created object of that class, and then I'm passing the value. And when I call this object with the this color constructor value, it printed the execute the program and it give me the value. So this is how the parameterized constructor, you can pass multiple parameters along with the self in Python. Question number 13 is, what is the object in Python class? An object is a specific instance of a class. Thank you for watching this video. If you like my video, please subscribe my channel. Thank you.